We are counting down the 15 car modifications most likely to land unsuspecting drivers in serious legal trouble. From flashy upgrades that catch police eyes instantly, to performance-boosting tweaks that carry massive federal fines, and even a few mods so common dealers rarely warn you about. This ranking exposes the hidden pitfalls in the world of aftermarket customization. Which illegal upgrade tops the list as the riskiest? And are you already breaking the law without knowing it? Let us start the countdown with number 10. Blue headlights might look futuristic, but in the eyes of the law, they're a red flag. Federal rules, specifically the Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standard 108 from the Department of Transportation, require all headlights to shine white or amber and taillights to glow red. Any other color, like blue, green, or purple, instantly puts your car on the wrong side of the code. Even popular modifications like smoked or tinted taillight covers can get you cited because they cut visibility by up to 20%, making it harder for drivers behind you to react in time. Police officers are trained to spot these changes on site, and most states issue tickets on the spot if your lights do not match the legal standard. Most aftermarket bulbs and lens covers skip the Department of Transportation or the Society of Automotive Engineers certification stamp, so it is easy to end up with illegal gear without realizing it. The good news? Fix-it tickets are common for this violation. Swap in certified lights, and the fine usually disappears. But ignore it, and you could face bigger problems if you are involved in a crash. Police don't need fancy equipment to spot illegal window tint. They use a small device called a tint meter. During a traffic stop, an officer rolls down your window, clips the meter over the glass, and in seconds the display shows your car's VLT, visible light transmission. Most states require at least 50% VLT on front windows and 35% on the rear, but the numbers can swing widely depending on where you live. In California and New York, even a factory dark look can get you pulled over, while states like Arizona or Missouri are more relaxed. The reason behind these rules is simple. Dark tint blocks an officer's view into the cabin, increasing risk during stops, and it makes night driving more dangerous for everyone. Citations for illegal tint are some of the most common traffic tickets issued, and many drivers don't realize their film is too dark until they fail a roadside test. In some cases, especially with ultra-black tint, police may even impound the vehicle on the spot. License plate obscuration devices are a favorite among drivers hoping to dodge traffic cameras or tolls, but they are a fast track to getting pulled over. Anything that blocks a clear view of your plate, such as flip mechanisms, tinted covers, or decorative frames, is illegal in every state. Police do not need a special reason to stop you if your plate numbers, state name, or registration stickers are hidden or hard to read. Most states spell it out in their display statutes. Every character must be visible from at least 50 feet, day or night. Automated license plate readers depend on sharp, unobstructed images to scan plates instantly. If a device blocks the optical character recognition, the system flags your car for manual review, and that often results in a traffic stop. Officers are trained to spot these tricks, and dash cam footage is enough for a citation. Fines range from $100 to $300, but if intent to defraud is suspected, penalties can escalate quickly. Even a simple tinted cover can turn a routine stop into a much bigger problem. Roaring engines might sound thrilling, but there's a hard line between performance and breaking the law. Most states cap exhaust noise at 74 decibels, about as loud as a busy street. Straight-piped cars and muffler deletes can easily hit 95 decibels or more, louder than a jackhammer. Patrol units now carry handheld decibel meters, so a single rev at a stoplight can trigger a roadside test. The crackdown isn't just about the noise itself. Community complaints drive much of the enforcement. In cities from Los Angeles to New York, repeated calls from fed-up neighbors mean officers are quick to respond, especially late at night. Tickets for excessive exhaust noise usually start around $100, but for repeat offenders, fines climb fast, and police can impound the car on the spot. In some areas, 3 strikes on noise violations can even escalate to misdemeanor charges. For drivers, a loud exhaust might feel like self-expression, but for everyone else, it's a ticket waiting to happen. Hidden under the trunk or tucked behind the passenger seat, a gleaming blue bottle and a tangle of braided steel lines can mean only one thing: nitrous oxide, better known as NOS. On the drag strip, this setup unlocks a jaw-dropping 50 to 150 horsepower boost with the flick of a switch. But on public roads, those same parts can land you in serious trouble. Most states ban NOS systems in street-driven vehicles, even if the bottle is empty or disconnected. Officers know exactly what to look for: pressure gauges, solenoids, and the telltale plumbing snaking through the engine bay. The law treats these mods as racing equipment, not street upgrades. If you are caught with a live system, expect a traffic citation, fines that often start around $200, and in some cases, your car could be impounded. Use it during a street race, and the charges can escalate to a felony. Insurance companies are just as strict. Many policies are voided the moment a NOS kit is discovered. The temptation for instant power is real, but the legal fallout is just as fast. A quick plug into the OBD2 port can reveal more than most drivers realize. State emissions inspections rely on these onboard diagnostics to catch tampered systems, especially when it comes to DEF and EGR deletes, or defeat tunes. These electronic modifications are designed to trick the car's computer, disabling emissions controls while hiding the evidence from dashboard warning lights. But inspection scanners do not just look for warning lights, they check for readiness codes and permanent faults. If the scan flags a missing or disabled system, the vehicle fails on the spot. In many states, that means you cannot renew registration until the problem is fixed and the car passes a retest. Online, tune chips and mail order. ECU reflash kits promise instant horsepower, but most are illegal for street use and leave digital footprints that inspectors spot in seconds. Civil penalties for emissions tampering can hit $3,750 per vehicle, and the EPA has ramped up enforcement against both shops and owners. What used to be a back alley trick is now a fast track to registration denial and thousands in fines. Radar and laser jammers cross a legal line that most drivers do not realize is federal, not just local. Unlike radar detectors, which simply alert you when police are using speed traps, jammers actively interfere with law enforcement equipment, sending out signals to block or scramble radar and LiDAR guns. Under Title 47 of the United States Code, Section 302A, the Federal Communications Commission treats these devices as unlawful signal jammers, and the penalties are steep. The maximum civil fine for a single jammer can reach $112,500, and the Federal Communications Commission routinely seizes the equipment during enforcement actions. Officers trained in traffic enforcement know the difference between a passive detector and an active jammer. If they suspect your car is transmitting, they can request a search or use specialized tools to detect interference. Even a single device hidden in your bumper or grille can draw federal attention, not just a local ticket. Getting caught means immediate confiscation and a fine that can rival the cost of a new car. For drivers, the risk is not just losing the gadget, it is facing a 6-figure penalty and a black mark on your record that goes far beyond a speeding ticket. A mismatched license plate or a tampered vehicle identification number isn't just a paperwork problem, it's a fast track to felony charges. In most states, driving with fake or switched plates goes far beyond a simple citation. Automated license plate readers scan thousands of tags every hour, flagging any plate that doesn't match the make, model, or registration in the database. When officers pull you over, a quick vehicle identification number inspection can reveal if the car's identity has been altered or erased. Federal law treats vehicle identification number tampering as a serious crime, with penalties reaching up to 5 years in prison and steep fines. In California, altering or possessing a vehicle with a fraudulent vehicle identification number can mean up to 3 years in state prison and fines as high as $30,000. Vehicles caught with swapped plates or altered vehicle identification numbers are often seized on the spot and may never be returned. Insurance companies will refuse coverage on any car with a suspicious vehicle identification number, leaving owners with no recourse if the vehicle is damaged or stolen. Unlike minor mods that end in a fix-it ticket, identification fraud leaves drivers facing a criminal record, jail time, and the permanent loss of their car. For law enforcement, these cases aren't about aesthetics. They're about stopping car theft, fraud, and trafficking at the source. Red and blue flashing lights are more than just a cosmetic choice. They are a shortcut to handcuffs. Across the country, police are trained to spot aftermarket strobe kits that mimic emergency vehicles. The moment an officer sees red or blue strobes, especially if they are visible from the front or rear, the situation escalates. State statutes treat this as impersonation of emergency personnel, a charge that goes far beyond a traffic ticket. In Texas, California, and New York, officers have arrested drivers on the spot for having hidden strobe bars or dash-mounted flashers, even if they were never switched on while driving. The law doesn't care about intent. Just possession and installation are enough. In 2023, a driver in Florida was charged with impersonating a police officer after a routine stop revealed a set of blue strobes wired to a toggle under the dash. The vehicle was impounded, and the driver spent the night in jail. Statutes like California Vehicle Code 25,259 and New York TL 375 make it clear only authorized emergency vehicles can display these lights. Fines start around $500, but a misdemeanor arrest means a permanent criminal record and possible jail time. Insurance companies may refuse to cover any incident involving a car equipped with illegal emergency-style lighting. For drivers, the risk is immediate. One flash, and you are facing cuffs, not just a citation. Nothing sparks debate among car enthusiasts quite like the catalytic converter delete. In online forums and late-night garage sessions, it is the mod that draws both defenders and critics. The pitch is always the same: cut out the catalytic converter, pick up a handful of horsepower, and let the engine breathe. But what most drivers do not realize is that this one mod carries the highest legal risk of them all. Under the Clean Air Act, removing or disabling a catalytic converter is a direct federal violation. The Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, treats it as emissions tampering, no exceptions, no gray area. For car owners, that means a potential civil penalty of $3,750 for each violation. Shops that install or even advertise these deletes face fines up to $7,500 per car. Since 2020, the EPA has increased enforcement by more than 300%, targeting both installers and drivers in a nationwide crackdown. In the past 3 years alone, the agency has finalized over 170 tampering cases, with several high-profile shops forced to shut down or pay six-figure settlements. The numbers do not stop there. State penalties often stack on top of federal ones, with fines ranging from $500 to $2,000. If you fail an emissions inspection, you could lose your registration on the spot. Insurance companies routinely deny claims when they discover a missing catalytic converter, and some will cancel coverage entirely. For repeat or commercial offenders, criminal charges are on the table, especially if the car is used on public roads. The performance gains, despite all the hype, are modest at best. Most dyno tests show a bump of just 5 to 10 horsepower after a catalytic converter delete. That is barely enough to notice behind the wheel, but more than enough to trigger massive fines. The real-world trade-off is clear: a small increase in power in exchange for thousands in penalties and the risk of arrest. Gearhead culture might celebrate the mod, but the law sees it as a serious threat to air quality and public health. With enforcement only getting tougher, the era of the easy cat delete is over. For drivers, the stakes could not be higher: a few extra horses under the hood, or a lifetime of legal headaches. Underbody neon and underglow lighting might seem like harmless flair, but city ordinances across the country have strict rules about what's allowed. In most places, solid white or amber underglow is legal if it stays steady, But the moment those lights start flashing, strobing, or cycling through colors, especially red or blue, you're at risk for a ticket. Police are on the lookout for any lighting that could be confused with emergency vehicles or distract other drivers. Fines for illegal underglow usually range from $55 to $180, and officers can order you to remove the lights on the spot. A quick fix? Stick to steady, non-police colors and double-check your local laws before hitting the switch. A siren under the hood or a horn that mimics emergency vehicles is not just a prank, it is illegal in most cities. State and local codes ban any device that sounds like a police, fire, or ambulance siren, even if it is never used on the road. Police are trained to listen for those tones during stops. If they find an illegal horn or siren, they can seize the equipment right then and there. Citations often follow, with fines that can stretch into the hundreds. The risk is not limited to a ticket. Drivers caught with these devices may face charges for impersonating emergency personnel. For car owners, the message is simple. If your horn sounds like it belongs on a squad car, expect it to be confiscated and prepare for a citation. Extreme suspension lifts and drops, like the so-called Carolina squat, often fail state inspections before they ever hit the road. When a truck's front end is jacked sky high while the rear drags low, it is not just about style. It is a violation of bumper and headlight alignment rules in dozens of states. Most inspection criteria require headlights to sit between 22 and 54 inches above the ground, and bumpers must align within a set range to protect both vehicles in a crash. If your headlight aim is off, or your clearance dips below the legal minimum, inspectors will flag the vehicle and issue a fix-it order. Beyond failing inspection, these mods can create real safety hazards by reducing forward visibility and blinding oncoming drivers. In some states, repeat violations mean fines or even an impound order until the suspension is fixed. Tires and wheels that stick out past the fender might look aggressive, but they are a legal headache in most states. Laws in places like California, New York, and Texas require the entire tire tread to sit underneath the fender line, with no exceptions. When wheels or stretched tires protrude, they don't just change the look, they fling rocks and debris at cars behind you, creating a real hazard on the highway. Officers spot these setups right away and often issue fix-it tickets on the spot. Fines typically range from $100 to $300, and you will be ordered to swap back to legal wheels or to add fender flares before you are allowed back on the road. Removing airbags or seatbelt pretensioners might seem like a way to lighten a car for racing, but it is a violation of federal safety rules, specifically FMVSS. Cars built after 1998 are required by law to have these systems in place, and disabling them can mean instant failure at inspection. Insurance companies often deny claims if they find missing airbags after a crash, leaving drivers fully liable for injuries. Fines for tampering with safety devices can top $500 per missing part, and the legal risk does not end there. In an accident, the absence of these features can turn a survivable crash into a tragedy, both on the road and in court. Across all 15 modifications, one truth stands out. The line between customization and crime is thinner than most drivers realize. Laws target not just wild builds, but everyday tweaks, because what looks cool or feels harmless can undermine public safety or invite serious legal trouble. In the end, car culture isn't just about expression. It is about knowing the rules that define the road. Which rule surprised you most? Let's talk below.